in the world of economics that would be beneficial to you. And then also, I want to I'll answer a few questions before we bounce out. Last night we did stock options and we talked about something called a poor man's covered call, which is really an extraordinary way to make extra money. It solves one of the problems that I'd been kind of trying to work with you guys on, which is how do you make more money when you don't have a massive capital base? And so the poor man's covered call, and really the thing is, I've known about it for a long time, but I wanted to get an assessment of the risk, just because a lot of times when you get something that seems like it's free, it's usually not free. There's usually a cost you're paying somewhere, like they call that a shadow price in economics. So remember, life does not give free lunches. So anyway, so if you want to join the coin program, a certified options investing network, feel free to go to drboycecoin.com. We've got a new cohort that's happening in 10 weeks, and you're certainly welcome to join. And it's smaller group. It's 40 students, and so I answered every single question, got a chance to talk to every single student about what they were thinking about, what they were interested in, and so we really did a lot last night. So anyway, all right, so here's one thing I wanted to mention, and this is something I've kind of addressed before, but I want to address it in more detail, because it's evolved a little bit since I first brought it up. How did you know that Robinhood is now doing their basically kind of like sports betting? It's really basically sports betting. They call it prediction markets. How many of you have seen Robinhood's foray into the space of prediction markets? Where you can literally bet money now on various events. You can bet money on whether or not the Federal Reserve is going to increase interest rates and what the rate's going to be. You can bet on the NCAA tournament, which team's going to win. You buy you buy these little contracts. So, for example, what they'll do is they'll say, Kentucky, my alma mater, they're not supposed to win this week, apparently. And so what they do is they have a little contract you can buy for like 37 cents. And if Kentucky does win, you'll get $1 for that 37 cents. Whereas the other team had their contract cost 67 cents. So if you buy a contract on the better performing team, you've got to pay more for that. In a way, they treat them a little bit like stocks, where this stock is higher quality stock. So it's going to cost you more money, that kind of thing. And so this is, it is what it is. You can participate if you want to. I'm not judging you if you do. I like stuff like that sometimes too. Don't get me wrong. I'm a basketball fan and all that stuff. But one of the things I wanted to really drill into is how this is a massive, massive wealth killer. Sports betting is, I'm telling you, it is the epidemic waiting to happen. They haven't talked about it just because the media tends to be late to the party. They tend to talk about epidemics after they become epidemics and after millions of people's lives have been destroyed. For example, I saw this country girl who was from my home state of Kentucky, and so she kind of sang like this, but she was a good singer though. She was a good singer, and she was singing about how the big pharma put the opioids in the community, and she sang about it real well. She was explaining how you might have worked in the coal mine for 20 years and you had a knee problem and you went to the doctor and the doctor said, "Here, just take this pill." And of course, since nobody asked what's in the pill, they all take the pill. And since everybody loves the pill, next thing you know, everybody in the whole dang county is addicted to the pill. And Big Pharma keeps promoting the pill because the doctor's getting a kickback, right? So all of this comes back to money, which is why y'all should be listening to Dr. Boyce. I don't rightly know how I feel about black people, but I think that Dr. Boyce is right about this when he's right that if you follow the money, you'll see that this is happening everywhere. This is a problem everywhere. So Dr. Boyce, you keep on going, you big sexy black man, because you're helping people. And what you're saying is right, because out here in Paducah County in eastern Kentucky, we know exactly what you're talking about. Okay. All right. So anyway, with that said, I love the fact that she had this song. I'm being stupid today. Paducah, Kentucky is actually not Eastern. That just was the only Kentucky county I could think of. I was improvising. All right, anyway, so Paducah, even though it's not Eastern Kentucky, but it's probably one of those counties that's been hit by the opioid crisis, right? So the opioid problem is something that's an example of where money caused the wrong incentives, basically. When you have access to the ability to sell a product that is addictive to the customer, and then health goes out the window, concern for human dignity goes out the window, the effects you have on families goes out the window, the effects you have on mental and physical health, that goes out the window. What really pops up is the quarterly profits, and these fancy executives get together and talk about how they made 1.8 billion dollars this quarter, and that this is their number one selling drug, and they talk about ways to get the doctors to become better drug dealers, because unfortunately that's what they've reduced the medical profession to. And it makes me feel bad. My sister's a medical doctor, and she actually kind of disconnected from some of the profession because she said all they do is they teach us how to give people pills. That's it. Again, my sister should speak for herself in terms of elaborating her point of view. But she said, I didn't learn much about holistic health. I didn't learn much about how to keep people healthy. I just learned how to like diagnose things and give pills, like give drugs, and so these drug dealers have kind of ruined our country because nobody really sort of stopped and said, should I take this pill? I'm telling you, and I'm gonna tell you, I think it's honestly, black people, we're suspicious of the medical system. We've been suspicious since the Tuskegee experiment and even before then. And I think that means that speaks to our intelligence. I think that we kind of are smart enough to be the canaries in the mine and kind of know what's going on, and we don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe most of the time. At least not intelligent black people, like people like you, B1 people that are really woke and not scared and not following the crowd. Like you're the ones who kind of warn us. And a lot of times we know things before everybody else does, because one thing I never could understand is I was like, why is everybody so quick to just take a damn pill and not know what's in the dang thing? Like, you don't even know what's in the damn pill. You don't know the long-term effects. Like right now, I'm looking at Ozempic. I'm happy for you. I'm glad that you were able to, lose all that weight without going to the gym. But do you even know? Like, has there been a clinical trial to see what happens 20 years down the line when you've been taking the stuff? I'm not saying that they're giving you crap. I'm saying that they're trying to make this bread. And their goal is not to make sure that you're 100% healthy when they're putting this stuff on your body. Their goal is to make a profit. That's the first objective, to make a profit without upsetting the regulators. And the problem with that is that the regulators have been bought and paid for too. There was a time. I'm gonna get back to the Robinhood thing in a minute, but I think it connects. It connects with follow the money, follow the money, follow the money. Anybody remember when Michelle Obama first came into office? And she was doing a really great job. They always make the first lady find some goofy little project to do, because I guess we don't think women can do the important stuff, which is kind of terrible, right? So they'd have her do something cute or whatever, right? Like we're gonna teach everybody how to bake cookies or whatever, right? Or just say no, like Nancy Reagan. Well, Michelle Obama's cute little project, which I'm sure drove her crazy because she seems like a smart woman of substance. Her cute little project was to get people healthy, which actually it wasn't just cute though, it was actually meaningful because Americans are the worst on earth when it comes to our physical and mental health. I mentioned that to you. Like we have golden handcuffs in a way. It's like we're locked in a prison. It's like being in the fanciest hotel in the world, but it's a prison. But it's really nice. It's a really nice prison. And the reason I say that is because all the studies show that Americans, even though we make the most money, we're the least happy. We have our marriages don't last. Our physical health is bad. Our mental health is bad, especially for Gen Zs. Gen Zers, I feel really sad for them because the pandemic kind of messed them up. And the thing was, it wasn't like this wasn't predictable. I said this is going to be really bad after this thing's over. Kids ain't going to be able to read. They ain't going to have no social skills because you don't lock the damn 17-year-old up in his house for a year, even though he has no chance of dying from this. I mean, it was. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it wasn't real and it wasn't important, but it wasn't handled properly. It just wasn't. The smartest country when it came to the pandemic was actually Sweden. Either Sweden or Switzerland. I can't remember. I think it was Sweden. Sweden at the time, they said, no, we're not going to shut down people's lives. We're not shutting down our whole country. We're going to just let it play itself out, herd immunity and whatever. And everyone thought they were crazy. They said, "Oh my God, everybody in Sweden's gonna die." And actually, their death rate was very, very low. It was lower than all the other European countries. Their economy stayed strong. Lots of good things happened in Sweden, and now Sweden, they're seen as the smart people. They're like, oh, well, we didn't know that the Swedes actually knew something we didn't know. But think about it, they have a better educational system than you do, so you should probably listen to their scientists a little bit instead of just assuming that Dr. Fauci knows everything. So anyway, with that said, I don't want to get into that controversial issue, but the point of the matter is that a lot of times, in a lot of situations, the money's kind of driving everything. So let's circle back to Michelle Obama when it comes to health. If you remember, Michelle Obama, a very gracious first lady, did a great job of really promoting the idea of being healthy. She would talk about two major things: what you eat and working out. That's it, right? If you work out and you eat right, you're going to be okay. So she made a little joke where she said, "Oh, well, I have to admit I like McDonald's French fries too, but I know I can't eat them all the time." And that's when they became alarmed. They're like, "Oh, wait, she's telling people not to eat McDonald's French fries? Oh my God, that's so bad. That's terrible because we can't have people eating less McDonald's because we can't, we won't make as much money. They're going to die, but that's a side effect. That's just the cost of doing business. Your life is the cost of me making my money." That's how their thought process was. So what they did was the food industry came along and they said, "We want to help Michelle. We want to help her in her campaign." And if you notice in the campaign, what then happened was that after they came to help her, which basically meant like threaten her, literally everything that she said about eating healthy went out the window. She stopped talking about watching what you eat. She stopped talking about getting rid of fast food. She only talked about exercise. So literally in their mind, they're like, we want you still going to the gym, but you can go to the gym after you go to Burger King. And so basically, and there's more there. There's a lot more there that I could talk about in terms of just the raw corruption that comes when you have money mixed into your politics too much. So you cannot trust the federal officials. You cannot trust the government to tell you what's going to be good for you and what's not. Because they will legalize stuff that will kill you. I wouldn't be surprised in 40, 50 years if they literally legalize crack. Like they literally, like you go down to the grocery store, your kids could buy some crack candy. And like really, I wouldn't be surprised in 40 or 50 years if your kids could go down the store and get like some cracky soda, like Pookie soda with this got crack in it. And it'd be all energized and stuff, and people like, "Ooh, I can stay up all night." Like, I really feel like this is what they're gonna eventually legalize. So, anyway, so with Robinhood and their prediction markets, that's what they call it because they want to make it sound fancy. It's sports betting. That's what it basically is, in my opinion. And so now they've got this there, and I wanted to share just some thoughts with you and some data with you in terms of why this is so dangerous and why I'm so alarmed that I brought this up on more than one occasion during class because I really because I'm thinking about your life, right? I'm thinking about not just the choices you make, but the choices of the people around you. Remember, your economic situation isn't just determined by you; it's determined by the people that become stewards in your life. It's determined by people that you trust. You trust that man, you trust that woman, you trust that business partner. And I can just tell you that if you have a man in your life, a woman in your life, a business partner in your life that is addicted to betting and gambling, then that's just like sleeping with somebody that's got a horrible STD. You don't have to go earn, you don't have to go earn the STD to have it. You just have to get with somebody who's got it. And I'm just telling you that it's really dangerous and you have to be extremely careful because you don't know what they're doing to fund their habit. Just like drugs, same thing. Imagine if you trusted your money to a drug addict. Drugs take a life of their own. Drugs will cause them to do things that they know they're unethical. And then what they'll do is they'll talk themselves out of it. They'll say, "Okay, I'm going to borrow the money. I'm going to borrow the 50,000, but I'm going to put it back before they know it's gone." Whatever. And they'll feel terribly guilty about it. But the thing is, when you let these things take over your mind, they just gain a mind of their own. It really becomes it almost feels like a demonic spirit that literally forces you to do things that you don't want to do. That's one of the reasons why, if you want to know, just TMI, but one of my personal policies is I don't mess with mind altering substances ever. My whole life I never wanted to do alcohol because I just watch people. Okay, this is kill you. I don't want to make no sense to do it because is that what it is? I don't do things because everybody does it. I do it if it makes sense. And I'm not making fun of anybody that drinks. I get it. I'm not dogging you. My wife drinks sometimes. She doesn't drink a lot, but we go somewhere and she'll make fun of me. She'll say, "Okay, boys, you're gonna be the designated driver." I'll be like, "Okay, no problem." Right? Just like they made fun of me for because they thought that she had me trapped in the friend zone for 25 years when they don't realize I actually enjoy the friend zone. I like being friends with people. I don't need to go and sleep with every pretty girl I see. I like being friends with people and get to know them. So our friendship is actually a powerful foundation to our marriage. Just in case you want to know a little like marriage hack, if you're friends on top of being lovers, then you can lean on your friendship. It's like a plan B to your relationship. Did y'all know that? Like some days you're gonna wake up and he ain't gonna be cute that day. She's she ain't gonna be as sexy as she was when you first met her, but if she's your friend and you can laugh together and you can change the subject and talk about something that friends would discuss, that just kind of gives you a little bit of an outlet, you know. And too many people they're like, oh, I met he's 6'5" and he's got money but you don't even like this person, like you don't even know him, you know, but you think that they're attractive. I don't think. I just again, I'm more practical. I kind of feel like relationships shouldn't just be about who you're attracted to and who you have the best sex with. Because eventually you turn 45 or 50 and that ain't enough. Like that ain't gonna keep it going, you know? So I think that these honest conversations should happen because this is a big investment. We've talked about investing, and most of your investing has nothing to do with money. So if you ever want to know what a horrible life feels like, go and invest your life, half your life into the wrong person. That's a terrible feeling, right? It's worse than losing money. It's like it's like it's like getting an anal probe at a Diddy party. Like it's not fun. You know, it's the worst feeling in the world. So anyway, with that said, let me move back to following the money. So let me give you some quick stats on the gambling thing, so we can kind of just understand why this is the epidemic that people aren't talking about. This is something that I think all of you want to pay attention to. So when you see the headline, when they finally reveal, oh, the gambling epidemic in America, like it'll be about 2 years from now, I want you to think back to this conversation and just know that again, because B1 people are the canaries in the mine, we know what's happening. Okay, so the first stat that I want to throw out at you is number one, up to 53% of people with gambling problems report serious relationship issues, including separation and divorce. So half of all people that do too much betting, they usually end up divorced or separated. Number two, over 6 million U.S. adults meet the criteria for a gambling disorder. So 6 million people. This is according to the National Council on Problem Gambling. Another stat is the calls to gambling helplines have increased by 45% between 2020 and 2023, coinciding with the legalization of online sports betting in many states. So more people are calling these hotlines because they've hit rock bottom. And the thing about it is when somebody has an addiction, they will never ever really truly admit that they have an addiction. They're gonna pretty much talk themselves out of believing that they have a problem. Because that's just what you do. I mean, you're an addict. That's what addicts do. Addicts are in denial until something really horrible happens, like, like your daughter never speaks to you again, or you blow the rent money and you're homeless, or your wife leaves you because she finds out the bank account's empty, or you get $100,000 in debt and you're only making 30,000 a year. Like that's when you kind of have to confront it, kind of. But for the most part, it's hard to admit that you have a problem that deep. It's very difficult, right? Until it really disrupts your life. Also, let's see, another stat, nearly 70% of college students reported doing some type of sports betting this year. 6% are considered problem gamblers. So 6% out of 70%. So I guess they're saying 6% of college students or 6% of the ones who actually gamble. I'm not sure which stat they're leaning on. This is from the Journal of Gambling Studies. But either way, though, basically, I guess I would say 10% of them have, or almost 10% of the ones who actually bet have become problem gamblers. So it doesn't happen to everybody. But the thing about it is that when it's not happening to you, you never know when that switch is gonna flip, when you're gonna jump from being just casual to being a problem. So it's very important to be thoughtful about that. Number four, people with gambling disorders have a 15 times higher rate of taking their own lives than the general population. So this is the highest among all addictions. An addiction to betting and gambling actually is worse than an addiction to crack or heroin or anything when it comes to the rate of people that actually take their own lives. And my theory on that is that you get to the point where you have this hopelessness. You have a hopelessness where you're like, man, how am I going to get out of this hole? I'm in this hole because because the trick of it is the way see, this is how the devil gets you, y'all. This is how the devil gets you. The trick of it is that when you get into a hole, because at some point you're gonna fall behind. Like you start betting and you have a bad day. And the trick of it all, that where it becomes a sinkhole, a financial sinkhole, is that when you're in the hole, the only way to get out of the hole is to risk going into a deeper hole, right? So it's kind of like you're doing double or nothing on the universe. Like literally, like so you lose 1,000 and you say, okay, let me do it double or nothing. Okay, so you bet in 2,000 now. Then you lose that. Now you're down 3,000. Okay, double or nothing. So you bet 6,000 because you're trying to get out of the hole. And then you lose the third time in a row, fourth time or whatever. And now you're 9,000 in the hole, right? So then at that point, you don't want to you don't believe you can nickel dime your way back to profitability. You understand? Like you can't bet $50 at a time and get out of a $9,000, $10,000 hole. You have to keep on going with bigger and bigger numbers for two reasons. One, because that's required to get out of the hole. That's the level that you're kind of at this point. That's why Michael Jordan and those other guys would tell stories about betting $100,000 a hand and all this other crazy nonsense that was killing their generational wealth. But then on top of that, your dopamine rush from that you get from the betting process itself, that happens inside your brain, it gives you a high. It like any other drug addict, the old high don't work as well as it used to. So you need bigger numbers in order to really feel it, right? So this is a real ugly hole to kind of get into, and it creates a lot of sadness and hopelessness. And the reason I talk about it is because I don't want anybody to feel that way. I don't want you to feel bad about your life, especially when you're young. When you're young, when you're young, you're probably stupid like I was. You think you're smart, but you're stupid. I hate saying it, but I was stupid when I was young. I just thought I was super smart. And I was smarter than most people my age, but I wasn't smarter than a 53-year-old when I was 25. So I would encourage anybody who's humble enough to admit that you're not as smart as a 53-year-old college professor to at least hear what I'm saying. I'm not telling you that you're wrong. I'm not telling you to stop doing what you're doing. I'm telling you to think carefully because sometimes things are not what they seem. And the reason I talk to young people about it is because those are the ones they target. They target them for the same reason they target young people to send them to war. They send 18-year-olds to war because they know that a 40-year-old who really knows what it's like to really be in a war, who's seen like documentaries of World War II of people getting their face blown off and their legs blown off, they're gonna be like, hell no, I'm not going. Right? Then they're like, no. But an 18-year-old, you can gas them up and tell them, make them feel patriotic and stuff. And they'll be like, yeah, I want to do this because I'm a tough guy, and it's sad, because you had a lot of 19-year-olds coming home with one leg and, I mean, you're at the peak of your life and shout out to all the veterans. I mean, I told you, I have infinite respect for any veteran that's in here because I hate people that talk crazy about stuff that they would never be willing to do themselves. It drives me crazy. You shut up. Stop criticizing military officials that are doing their best to defend the country because you're not willing to do it. You're not willing to pick up a gun to even defend your own damn kids. So don't talk bad about the people that do. I get it. I know it's complicated, the politics and everything for sure. But when you talk about just that soldier that's getting out there putting their life on the line, or even that police officer who's trying to do a good job, who's literally defending the lives of people they don't even know, I salute you 100% because I know I don't have to do it. I mean, the fact that you do it so people like me don't have to, I will always respect that. And that's just, but the thing about it though is that there is trickery in that, right? We know that there's a reason the military loves that 18-year-old because they're full of energy, they're easily influenced, and you can trick them into going into something that they wouldn't want to go into. Like I'm sure that a lot of the 18-year-olds who were stuck on a battleship in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean in 1942 probably didn't anticipate that they would be in that situation. Like with German U-boats, running around, they could blow up their ship at any moment and have them out in the middle of the ocean in the middle of the night with sharks circling and like I mean, just a horrible, like a nightmare. It's a freaking nightmare, right? So so going back to that though, the same thing is true with sports betting. They they trick young people into this, young men mostly, young men between say like 20 to 35. They're the ones who get sucked in because their testosterone's high, they're overconfident, they don't know how the world works, and they don't understand all the really smart 50-year-olds that are sitting there on their computers marketing something to them. They're like, oh, well, let's put Jamie Foxx in a commercial. Young black men love Jamie Foxx. Let's put that little short comedian, what's in Kevin Hart in an ad. They if they see Kevin Hart standing next to Shaq, they're gonna want to go and bet. Or if we put it on the Joe Budden podcast, a lot of these young black men watch Joe Budden. That's what they do. They market to us. And it's gonna take hundreds of billions of dollars in wealth. And so I hope you don't let them make you into a sucker. I really do. All right. So anyway, let me move on here. And before I do that, let me mention in terms of what's happening in the Black Business School. This weekend, as you guys know, we have the first ever Black Financial Therapy Department. So my wife is a therapist. She's the head of that department, and we do this because we want to work with the best Black therapists to really understand the psychological barriers to creating Black wealth. Like, why is our money not growing? So this weekend she does something called she does her book club where she works on relationship related stuff because our inability to keep relationships together is a big impediment to our wealth. We've talked about that. So if you want to join that, any of Dr. Alicia's sessions, just pull out your phone. You can text the word love to the number 87948. So text love to 87948. And also at some point, I'm going to send out her survey one more time because she's doing, as you guys may know, we're doing original research for an academic journal on Black financial psychology. There's no other studies anywhere that we could find where people specifically focused on Black people and did studies like this to understand what affects Black economic output, what affects our economic intelligence, what affects our economic confidence. And so she did this academically driven survey approved by the IRB, and hundreds of you responded, but I think she probably needs like a couple hundred more responses to be able to run the data analysis. And what we're able to connect is how trauma impacts your ability to build wealth or your confidence in building wealth. Confidence is a really important part of achievement. If you don't have confidence, or if you are afraid of everything, if your trauma has you frozen when you run into a difficult issue, almost like remember when you go to I used to teach math at the University of Kentucky, and I would have students that would be so scared of a word problem that they could not solve it. Their brain literally was not able to even process the basics. So you could give them a word problem where you just said, okay, you have two apples, and then Johnny gives you two more apples. How many apples will you have? And people would just, oh, hate math. I can't do, right? So, so these trauma responses impact your ability to think. They impact your prefrontal cortex, and you can almost go into this like almost like animalistic state of just freezing, fight or flight, right? And that can cause very bad investing decisions, stuff like that. So we're getting to the bottom of this. Harvard ain't doing it, Stanford ain't doing it, HBCUs aren't doing it, but we're doing it in the Black Business School, and we've got the PhDs to get it done. So if I text out that survey to you guys, I hope that you will take a moment, fill it out, because this is important. We're studying you. We are the economic surgeons. That's our goal, to be the economic surgeons of the Black community, because our wealth issue needs surgery. It doesn't just need platitudes or fancy speeches or Black Lives Matter rallies. We need to understand the science here so that we can really drill into it. Willa has a good point. She says, "Can you post it, the link here?" You know what? I cannot because I don't have it with me right now. It's on my phone. But what I can do is I can try to see what I can do as far as maybe posting it before we're done today. So I'm gonna try to multitask. I'm a terrible multitasker though, so that's the worst part. So what I'm gonna do here is so let's finish up the conversation on sports betting, and then I'll see if I can get that link to you. And if you will fill it out for me today, that would just be so amazing, and I'd appreciate that so much. So a couple more stats you should know about how Robinhood is destroying families with sports betting and all this other stuff. The U.S. gambling market, it generated 60 billion in 2022, but problem gambling costs the economy 7 billion annually in job losses, bankruptcy, and criminal justice expenses. So for every dollar they make, we're losing like I guess about thirty cents from all the problems that are caused by the billionaires making their extra dollar. And this is an issue. This is only going to get worse. Like it's funny, the data's from 2022, but the data's probably worse than what it was in 2022. I guarantee you. Also, families of problem gamblers are at higher risk of experiencing domestic violence. They have a 10 times greater risk relative to non-gambling households, according to the Journal of Gambling Issues. Children of problem gamblers are more likely to suffer from emotional neglect, anxiety, depression, and even developing gambling habits themselves. So, if you ever want to really, really work hard to pass down a generational curse, come into your family with an addiction. If you got, yeah, that's it. Come in as an alcoholic. Maybe you smoke a little crack, become a drug addict. Maybe you can also become a gambling addict, and then you'll get the great glorious honor of 30, 40 years from now, your children talking about how you were the number one worst thing to ever happen to them. They get to sit with a therapist and talk about what a terrible human being you are and how you ruin their lives. How about that? How about that for a consolation prize? That won't that be fun? Right? That you get to say that I ruined the lives of the people I love the most. So really, I'm gonna just say this, and I probably sound like a Mormon when I say it. So don't take it as me trying to be high and mighty because I'm not. Um, I really felt like being the most important job I've ever had was being the head of a black family. Like there's no award I've ever gotten that's more important. I've gotten a few awards. There's no degree I've ever gotten that's more important. There's no job I've ever had. And I was a PhD. I was the only African American on the entire planet to get a PhD in finance in the year 2002. There was not that year, there was not another black person on earth who got that degree. That's how hard it was. Everybody failed out of the program. It was crazy. It was like freaking being a Navy SEAL or something. Um, and that still does not give me the honor that I have of knowing that I connected with a black queen and I'm raising black kids, and that because of our presence, these children have a greater likelihood of being safe and successful in life, and that they're going to carry that energy to the rest of the world. And then on top of that, I get the other extreme honor. This is just an honor I'll never ever take for granted of talking to a lot of people every day. I get to talk to thousands of I've millions of followers and stuff, and I get to talk to you all every single day and share cutting edge ideas on finance and economics that are going to impact your families for many generations, that are impact your kids. Like that. You don't understand how proud I am of that. I'm so honored by that. And let's just keep it real. Ain't no job a white man could ever give me that's more important than this one. You can take, I'm sorry, Massa, Mr. Charlie, you can take that black job and shove it up your whole entire ass. That is not as important as the black job God gave me. And I didn't mean to cuss, but that's how I feel. That's how I feel. This is my black job. This is the right job. This is where we're supposed to be. So take pride in what you have and who you are. Own and be proud of what you have so you don't spend your life trying to get what everybody else got. They ain't got nothing across the street that's more valuable than what you got in your own backyard. You got those children. You got that beautiful woman next to you. You got that good quality man next to you. You got this. You have the assets. You got the juice. You got the juice. You ain't got to go to the grocery store to get the juice because the juice is in your refrigerator. Do you understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I got the juice, you got the juice, we got the juice. I don't want to drink their juice. Their juice has poison in it. Their juice has that's a burning house over there. I'm not walking into a burning house. We're building a house. They're burning their house down. And this to me is important because if you don't love and take pride in what you have, you're not going to defend it. You're not going to take care of it. You're going to abandon it. If I don't value my home, I'm going to leave my home, searching the world to find somewhere to live, and then somebody else is going to take the house that I gave up. That's what gentrification was. That's what happened with gentrification. We left our communities, went to the suburbs, and then white people came from the suburbs and went back to the hood and bought the property, fixed it up, and made it worth $1 million. And then we got mad. You took our property. You did us dirty. Maybe you kind of partly did yourself dirty. I think that that oppression is it's a two-party tango. You had to participate in the oppression, because if you had resisted and fought back, I think that it would have made it at least harder for them to do it. And in many cases, it would have stopped them. So don't give up what you have. What you have is valuable. Now, what I'm gonna do is actually mention somebody did us a favor and put Dr. Alicia's survey in the chat. And how about this? Let's if you could do this for me, how about we take like a quick little bathroom break, or and I'm gonna put the link in here too. And if y'all could take a moment and fill out the survey really quick, then when we get done, what I'll do is I'm going to find some stocks that I want to invest in, and I'm going to go through a couple of them, and we can talk about some ways you can make some money. So fair trade, is that a fair deal? That I'll if you do this for me, then I'll do something for you, and I'll go through, because today's a good day to buy some stock. I think the market might be down today, so let me go and find some stuff that they can help you in your investing journey. Because everybody in here is either a stockholder or they should be. And it looks like the Dow dropped 500 points today, which is because of the inflation indicator. It looks like inflation is higher than expected. And I'm going to give you, this is going to be fun to break down. So if you could do that survey for me real quick, it's going to take 5 minutes. I'm going to run to the bathroom, and then we'll talk about what's going on with the markets, and I'll give you some recommendations in terms of things that you may want to look into, as a result of investing. So let's come back right back. Okay, I'm back. I am back. So, thank you all for filling it out. Was that enough time for you to fill out the survey? And those of you who might have come in while we were taking our little break, here's the link again. Oh, it wasn't enough time. Dylan says the survey is not working. Did you say it's not working? Oh, still answering. Need more time. Okay, you know what? Then let's take a couple more minutes. And I apologize. Okay, Dylan's okay. It is working. Okay, I was like, oof. I was gonna say, okay, Alicia. All right. So yeah, then let's take another 5 minutes then. Um, or it's 10:46. So I'll open back up at 11. Okay, so I hope that most of you were able to get through. I see a lot of you say you're done, James and Kia and Regina. Um, for anybody that had an issue, let's see, Irma, you said that it froze for you, and I don't, I'm very sorry about that. I'm going to talk to Alicia about that and have her just double check everything. And I want to say thank you very much for helping my wife get this research done. And and for those that are still working on it, you can just keep working on it. And what I'll do is, for the sake of your time, we'll go ahead and start having the conversation about the stock market and what's happening right now. So right now, the market's down quite a lot, 500 points. That's a big deal. This inflation number is quite an issue because the economy was already slowing down, and usually when the economy slows down, that is deflationary. And I see your question, Dylan. I'm going to try to answer as many as I can. But just so you know, we have stock market class on Tuesdays, and we do stock options on Thursdays. So I can't we won't be able to dig into the fine details of a lot of questions today. But I'll do as much as we can. All right. So the biggest thing is that with the stock market being down because of inflation, that's a big problem because that shows, or that's going to make people start talking about these tariffs again, because the tariffs are naturally inflationary. Now, did tariffs cause the inflation? Nobody knows, but um, but the problem is that typically when the economy slows down, it's a deflationary process. It's like your car slowing down because you don't have enough air in your tires. So the way you speed the car up is you inflate the tires. They inflate the economy because inflation typically pushes the economy to be stronger and move a little bit faster. But what if your car's slowing down and your tires are full? Well, then now you can't use that. That's one tool you can't use. You can't inflate the tires further. You're going to bust the tires. So the Fed does not have a lot of tools really that can really um, stimulate a broken economy. The big thing they use are these inflationary measures. They reduce interest rates, they increase the money supply, stuff like that. And so this could be a stagflationary economy. Stagflation is where you have inflation and you have a slowing economy. It's really a lot like somebody having cancer and they're allergic to chemotherapy. Then you're like, okay, now what are we gonna do? And so it's not the end of the world, but it is something worth paying attention to, and it does speak to cautiousness going forward. There will be many rallies that happen along the way, even if everything's sort of trending downward. There'll be these little days and weeks where the market will do well, because the market tends to overreact. And this could be an overreaction. So don't be surprised if the stock market goes up tomorrow. But these long-term inflationary trends are an issue, even though right now we have a strong economy. But there are a lot of soft indicators to say that the economy won't be strong for very long. And eventually the hard data will start to follow the soft indicators. Okay. So here are some stocks that you can look at that I think would be worth considering during if you believe that there's a recession coming. I don't give investing advice ever, but here's a few areas that people turn to for what they call safe haven investments, especially during an economy where things are a little bit more volatile than you would expect. Energy, basically energy stocks tend to benefit from higher commodity prices. Consumer staples is a big deal. Consumer staples, like the things that people are going to buy even when the economy deflates. There is a consumer staples ETF. The ticker symbol is XLP. XLP, it's called the Consumer Staples Select Sector Spider. And basically, they own a lot of companies. I think Procter and Gamble might be in there, Walmart, Coca-Cola, stuff like that. Everybody's gonna go to Walmart, even in a recession. There'll probably be more people going to Walmart during the recession. So XLP, X like xylophone, lion, uh, paper. Healthcare is another area that tends to still remain strong because they pay good dividends, and also people are always going to get sick and go to the hospital even when the economy's down. So the Healthcare Select Spider is a good ETF to look at, to consider. And that ticker symbol is XLV. XLV. XLV is in Victor. And another area that you may want to look at is gold. Gold does well in times of volatility or times of uncertainty. And gold will not make you rich, but gold will protect your wealth. So having a little bit of gold in the portfolio might be good. There is an ETF that tracks the price of gold, and that's the Spider Gold Shares ETF, and that ticker symbol is GLD. GLD. Okay, so I'm gonna answer some quick questions, and then we can bounce out for today. And by the way, if you want to join our Stock Market Investors Club, you can go to drboycestockmarket.com, drboycestockmarket.com. You can do a free trial if that's of further interest for you. Michael Ruff, good morning, Doc. Is there a stock analysis site you subscribe to, like Tip Ranks or Motley Fool? Yeah, I subscribe to Zacks and Motley Fool and CNBC, and a few other places, bar chart, stuff like that. I just subscribe to a lot of things because I like to get information from every source I possibly can. Douglas, are there any more tickets available for the Atlanta event? You're talking about the All Black National Convention. Yeah, we're going to send out a link soon on that. There was a delay in terms of getting that ready because we're partnering with Dr. Ken Harris and the Black Business League, but we're still working out those details, and I don't want to push that out there until it's ready. So, but you will be the first ones to hear when that happens. And I think this convention's worth attending because we're going to have 3,000 people there, and literally business people from all over the globe. There's 6 African presidents coming to this year's convention, so that's going to be a very big deal. And by the way, thank you all for filling out the survey. I appreciate that, by the way. If you want to invest in energy, a good ETF for energy, I mean, you could invest in like Exxon or Chevron, but really ETFs are great because ETFs give you diversification. Diversification is really important for investing. You don't want to have your money all in one stock. You don't want to be in a situation where one stock going bad can ruin your whole life financially. That's not a good place to be. You never want to have all your eggs in one basket. Anybody who says, I invested and I went broke, I lost everything, that right there tells you that they did not diversify. Because if you diversify properly, that cannot happen. That is not a statistical possibility. So basically, XLE. Somebody type that in the chat so others can see it. XLE is the energy ETF. So feel free to take a look at that. And yes, the Miami event is still happening in May, Marina. They redid things because we changed the date, but I'll get that to you guys. You'll be the first ones to have that as well. So we're gonna be in Miami May, I think it's May 9th and 10th. I gotta double check that, but yes, that is happening. So let's see here. Dylan, do I think the Robinhood Gold is a money pit? No, I like Robinhood Gold a lot. Andrea, there's a compromised QT for income and years in B1. Someone else said, tell Alicia less she will need to toss that results for that QT. Okay, I don't know what that means, Andrea. A compromised QT for income. Yeah, I'm going to talk to her about it. I think that there might be a mistake in her survey, but it looks like she got a few hundred responses, and she says she can clean up the data. She's been doing this for a while, data analysis. But I did tell her. I told her. But you know how y'all ladies can be sometimes. Your husband tell you stuff, and y'all need to be start submitting. I'm playing. Just I'm kidding. Actually, no, I do actually believe in submitting in marriage. I believe I submit to the marriage and she submits to the marriage. So everybody submits to the family. And so it's not like, listen, woman, you best do what I say, girl, eat the cake, anime. No, not that type of submission, but I do think submitting to the family, submitting to the relationship instead of doing what a lot of people do, which is submitting to your ego. That's a key to relationship survival. Like if you walk into a relationship with big ego and like I'm not gonna do this and you ain't gonna tell me what to do, that doesn't work so well in a family. John Trey, how can you sell a call and a put at the same time? That's for options class. But if you text the word options to 87948, I'll send you an invitation to join us for options class. So feel free to text options to 87948, or we'll do a prime class again soon. We were doing stock options last night for 2 hours. So thoughts on XRP and Elon? I like XRP. Elon is controversial, but I do own Tesla stock. I think Tesla stock is undervalued right now. Is hyper focused on 4 to 6 stocks wise? I don't agree with that. I think for long-term investing, you want to have at least 20 different stocks. I think that's a better approach. Dorothea, this is the last question, Dorothea. Have you looked at stocks? BJ, I'd like your feedback. Okay, so for Dorothea, I'm gonna look up the stock and then we'll be done for the day. Okay, so BJ, the ticker symbol BJ. Oh, BJ's. Uh, it looks like they're a retailer. Oh, BJ's Wholesale Club. Yeah, I mean, I think it looks pretty stable. I mean, I wouldn't get mad if you had it in your portfolio. It's not, I mean, it's compared to like Costco and Walmart and Amazon, stuff like that. So they probably have a hard time competing in that industry that's dominated by the giants. But sure, why not? It's not, yeah, I mean, I think Costco might be a better look, or Walmart or something, especially now that everything's down. You could probably get some Costco shares for a good price. So I would probably pick Costco over BJ's, but it's not terrible. It's not a bad thing to add to the portfolio. Most of the time, when you talk about adding things to the portfolio, if it's a company, say in the S&P 500, the answer is like, why not? Because the thing about investing is you don't want to try to pick the right stock at the right time. They call that market timing. Market timing does not work. Market timing does not work. What you do is you build portfolios. You just invest in things. And remember, investing is always better than not investing. If you don't invest, then you're never going to be wealthy unless you're lucky enough to have a job that just pays you a ridiculous amount of money. But if you don't invest, you're missing natural growth of your money. Um, that's the biggest mistake people make when it comes to investing is not participating out of fear. Like, oh, I'm afraid that if I buy this, stock for $1,000, it'll only be worth $800 in a few years. But at least you have something to show for it. At least you have some of your money because if you spend $1,000 going out to eat and buying new shoes, you're gonna have $0 to show for it. You're gonna have a guaranteed negative 100% return on investment. And so this is the biggest part. So even if it's a faulty investment, I mean, in most cases, it's better than doing nothing, especially if you're sticking with high quality companies. That's the key thing. Not your family's blessing loom or your cousin's liquor store or the thing where your auntie wants you to put your life savings into this family business. I don't think those are wise moves because it's very risky. And also, it's not just risky in terms of money, but the liquidity is bad. So you put all your money into a business and you can't get your money out for 6 or 7 years. That's not fun. And or if it's a business you can't sell, so I make most of my money selling stock options because it's liquid. I can sell it anytime. The income's good. I don't have to do any work. And it's pretty clear exactly how to get the money. I like things that are simple and clear. Simple and clear is, I think, a good way to invest. If something's too confusing, you may not want to mess with it. That's what Warren Buffett's rule is. If you don't understand the business, then you shouldn't be in that business. So anyway, let's get out of here. It was great to see everybody. I hope you have a great day. Bless you. And make sure you're on the text list for this class. You can text the word morning to the number 87948. So text morning to 87948, and I'll send you an invitation tomorrow morning. And have a good day, everybody. And I'll see you soon. Take care now. Bye bye.